Finance and Physical Resources Committee meeting. It is Tuesday at 8:30. Thank you to staff and interested public who come and attend. We really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and attend this meeting. So with that, we will start with public comment. Is there any public that would like to address the Finance and Physical Resources Committee this morning? Seeing none, we will close public comment, and that will bring me to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
And I'll support that.
Okay, moved and supported. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item number 3 from the Administrator's Office. Wayman.
Yes, this is a request to the Board of Commissioners to approve the granting of a utility easement to Plainfield Township and a quick claim transfer of the parcel to the adjoining landowners and authorize the board chair or designate to execute all related documents. During a review of the county property by the Property Description and Mapping Department, staff found that the county still owned a parcel that should have had a utility easement granted to Plainfield Charter Township as a part of the North Kent sewer system. The easement will cover the entirety of the parcel. The original intention was to transfer the parcel to the adjoining property owner once the easement was granted. The county will have no further use for the parcel as it is landlocked, not adjacent to any other county property, and too small for county use, so transferring it according to the original intent is appropriate. Corporate Counsel will review and approve all documents prior to their execution.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? Moved and supported. Questions, comments, and any discussion on this? Okay.
Got overlooked.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item number 4 from the Administrator's Office. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to the board to approve the quick claim transfer of the Northland Drive lift station to Plainfield Charter Township and to authorize the board chair or designate to execute all related documents. During a review of county property by the Property Description and Mapping Department, staff found that the county still owned the property upon which the Northland Drive lift station is located. The transfer of the property was inadvertently omitted in the agreement moving the North Kent sewage disposal system to the participating communities and the North Kent Sewer Authority in 2008. Transferring the property is consistent with actions in the 2008 agreement. Corporate Counsel will review and approve all documents prior to their execution.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Support.
Moved and supported. Questions, comments, or discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item number 5 from the Department of Public Works. Wayman.
Yes, this is a request to the board to approve the sale of a section of property and grant an easement on a different section of property, both located at the South Kent landfill, to the Michigan Department of Transportation, and authorize the board chair or designee to execute all related documents. The Michigan Department of Transportation has proposed to acquire both a section of property and an easement located at the South Kent landfill. The property and easement will be used in conjunction with the project to rework the intersection of 100th Street and Highway US 131. The acquisition consists of 1,856 square feet that supplements 4,008 square feet of existing right-of-way. The Michigan Department of Transportation has proposed a good faith offer of compensation in the amount of $6,100 for the acquisition. The easement consists of 1,104 square feet that supplements 907 square feet of existing right-of-way. Michigan Department of Transportation proposed a good faith offer to compensation in the amount of $33,600 for the easement, which is set at the same rate as if Michigan Department of Transportation had completely acquired the property. The Department of Public Works has reviewed the proposal and determined there are no concerns with proceeding and that the compensation is fair. Because the South Kent landfill property was acquired with Department of Public Works funds, the revenue from this transaction will be recognized by the Department of Public Works.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
And support? Moved and supported. Any questions, comments, or discussion on this one? Yes, Commissioner Breve.
Thank you, Chair. I just think this is a really good move. It's pretty simple, but it's pretty important for the 100th Street Bridge project, which has gotten hit many times. And I drive that area frequently, so I'm excited to see the construction begin and see the completed project.
Thanks. Anything else? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item number 6 from the Drain Commissioner.
This is a request to the board to authorize an advance of $152,000 from the general fund to the Drain Commission revolving fund for the Oatman County Drain Project and to authorize the county board chair or designee to sign all related documents. The Drain Commissioner intends to expend $162,900 to design and construct improvements to the Oatman County Drain. Costs incurred for this project will be specially assessed at large to the Cascade Township, $24,442. To Lowell Township, $8,147. To the property owners, $120,000 of the district who benefit from said improvements. And because of roads, Kent County, $10,200, which will pay in a lump sum when billed. For previous projects of this nature, the Drain Commissioner has solicited quotations from interested financial institutions and others to finance the cash flow requirements pending receipt of special assessment installments. Consistent with recent projects, interim financing for this project will be provided from a general fund cash advance and will eliminate the need to incur financing cost. The resolution authorized the advance of $152,600 from an unassigned general fund balance with repayment terms to include interest on the outstanding balance at a rate of 2.1% annually, with all monies, including accrued interest, to be paid in approximately equal annual installments over a 7-year period commencing on September 1, 2020. Corporate Counsel has reviewed and approved the agreement as to form.
Here, motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. And questions, comments, and discussion? And we'll start with Commissioner Voorhees.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So it begins September of 2020, and we're addressing it now.
Ken, do you want to come up and address that question?
Yeah, that's a good question because it can be confusing. We make.
Could you come to the podium, Ken?
We make the first payment to the county in September 2020, but we're assessing it this year. So the assessment has been put out. The townships will, or Cascade Township will have it on the fall taxes for the property owners. The money will be collected by next year at this time. The county will receive the first check.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Wooden? Don't go anywhere, Ken. Stay
Thank you.
put.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for keeping Drain Commissioner Yonker here to answer my questions. I had two. The first one, just because this is a structured payment plan, is there a reason that we're using cash for this and not bonding out for it and leveraging our bond rating?
Because you've done a great job handling the finances of this county, we're able to help our county residents to have more affordable funding to do these internal projects.
So the cash advance is more affordable to the residents.
And because of the county's financial positioning, we are able to get a lower interest rate.
Okay, gotcha, perfect. And then the second one, I'm seeing the $10,000 that we're spending. Is that coming out of Kent County or out of the Road Commission itself? Just because the Road Commission does receive funding for the roads.
That comes from the county.
Okay. All right.
That's between the road commission and the county, and that's, they do things, we do things, and that's our part.
All righty. That was it. Thank you.
Ken, can you give us a quick rundown of the notification process to the residents so they know this is coming, everyone's on board, what's?
We went through the petition process where we had one of the property owners petition us to finally fix this drain. It's a small district, it's a short drain, but it's all underground and it's very deep. And we had to go through a street, so it was very expensive. So we went through the petition process and we had the board of determination where the public was notified. They could come and get the details, voice their objection if there is any. We had no objection.
Okay.
We did have some people later come up with some controversial challenges, but nothing could stick. We filed this thing by the letter of the law, and the due process carried out, and it met all the legal requirements for us to have fixed this drain.
And is each homeowner assessed the same amount?
It's a percentage, so much per acre, and that's yes. It'll depend on, we have one property owner that has a greenhouse, and they have a lot of roof space and a lot of paved parking lots, so their percentage will be a little higher. It's less impervious. The rest of them is mostly farmland. So we got one particular farmer that is probably 75% of this. He's carrying the biggest blunt of this assessment, but he's also the resident that petitioned us.
Okay,
So everything has been worked out, and we don't have any animosity happening out there at all.
that's the only question that I had, so thank you. With all those, yes, Commissioner Bukowski, we have more.
Yeah, sorry, just
It's all right. We have time.
slowly waking up this morning in spite of it being morning. That being said, I'm just, at one level, yeah, I'm just, yeah.
We can get you some coffee, Dave.
No, I already started
Okay.
at 7 o'clock with
Got it.
coffee at a meeting, but maybe that's why I'm asleep. But that being said, we're borrowing this money from ourselves, correct? I mean, when we refer to financial institutions, it was just to set the bar on what interest rates we should be paying, correct?
Correct.
So we're borrowing this from the general fund unassigned, and then for 7 years, we'll pay back the general fund.
Correct.
With interest.
With interest, yeah, and again, I mean, I think this is awesome, in spite of my fumbling for English language this morning, that we have these dollars, and instead of paying somebody probably 3 or 4%, you know, as the
Right.
drain commissioner pointed out, we're gonna save the residents of this drain
Right.
some dollars. Again, it's not a lot of money, you know, 1 or 2 points for $120,000, but at the end of the day, so as we do this, we look at other opportunities because, you know, when in the whereases and we start talking about the pooled funds we have and all that, I think there's additional opportunities to borrow from ourselves and still maintain liquidity. I mean, again, when we have the report from the county treasurer related to safety, liquidity, and
Sure.
I can't remember what his third bullet point is, but all that being said, so just to be clear, we're borrowing this from ourselves, and and when we see the chart from Steve, this is that thin
Right.
slice that's unassigned as opposed to the 25 million at the bottom we choose not to, just when we're looking at, again, because especially when we start talking about fund balances, we don't want to spend them. However, we're borrowing from them. And again, I support it. So all of that being
Yeah.
said, just hopefully there's some clarity in my comments this morning, but if not, just pass on and we'll be good.
Sure they will.
If I may, Madam Chair. Yeah, Dave, to that comment, when I have that conversation at our public meeting on how, because of the county's in the shape it's in and the job you guys have done and gals to run such a good county, we're probably one of 2 counties in the whole state that can do this. My colleagues don't have this benefit, and they're just amazed. And when I explain that to the property owners, that, you know, because of how we operate this county, they can be proud because we're saving you money right now. If I had a bond, it'd be another 20,000. And that all adds up real quick on these people.
Oh, absolutely.
So this is a great, this is one of the reasons this is a great county to be drain commissioner in.
All right.
Because I have you guys as partners and you're doing a great job.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the 2.10%, is that, you know, I don't mind leveraging our money. I think it's a great thing to do if we're in a position to do it. But is that enough money for us lending and taking the risk on this? Is that prime or is it one above prime? What was the formula that you landed just because a bank said this is?
And that's Steve's expertise, so I'm going to have to refer that question to Steve.
Hi,
We
Steve.
set this program up several years ago. What we decided to do was to use the pooled funds rate and the 10-year treasury bond and average it in the middle so that it cost them less interest and made us a little more interest than we were making on our short-term investments. Also, the other major savings in doing this is the cost of issuance. I mean, it is expensive to issue bonds, and if you're going to do a very small bond like this where they need money, it just doesn't pay to pay those costs.
Especially when the term is, 7 years or something, right? So I just was curious on the formula and how you arrived at that percentage, so.
The other question I'd like to answer while I'm up here, it appears on your financial statements, your CAFR, in non-spendable fund balance, okay? And currently, before this issue, we have about $486,000 outstanding for this, for the various drains that we've allowed to be borrowed.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item number 7 from Fiscal Services. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to, hold on, let me grab it here. To rescind Resolution 725-1964. The County Board of Commissioners authorized a dedicated millage for the John Ball Zoo and Grand Rapids Public Museum via Resolution 11-17-16-107. Dedicated funding is used for the care of animals and artifacts, repair and improvements of exhibits, and enhanced educational programs. As part of the 2019 General Fund Appropriation Act, the Board of Commissioners appropriated $10,017 to the 2019 Zoo and Museum Fund budget. $10,017,200 to the 2019 Zoo and Museum Fund budget. Actual revenue is projected to exceed the 2019 adopted budget. To ensure funds are transferred to the John Ball Zoo and Grand Rapids Public Museum in a timely manner, the administration is requesting administrative authority to increase the appropriation to match actual revenue collected. On July 26, 2019, $230,200. An increase to the budget was administratively authorized. These funds were received from the local Community Stabilization Authority for the benefit of John Ball Zoo and Grand Rapids Public Museum. These funds were not anticipated nor included in the 2019 General Appropriation Act. Fiscal Services staff has analyzed the budget with the above increase and believe this year will be finished within the amended budget. Therefore, it is recommended to rescind Resolution 725-1964.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, please.
Okay, moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion on this one? Yes, Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if I'm reading this correctly, it is not the fact that the anticipated funding did not come in. It is the fact that we are not anticipating an increase beyond what we've amended, and so we're rescinding the previous resolution, correct?
Correct, but Steve, you want to come up and
Not a problem.
maybe tag onto that? I think there's a little bit more to this that we want to put on the
thank you.
table.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I didn't catch it all.
Not a problem. So by my read of this and by Wayman reading it again, what I was gathering was it's not that the expected increase that caused us to pass the original resolution didn't occur. It's that we're not expecting any additional increases in revenue beyond what we budgeted in the 2019 General Appropriation Act. And so we're rescinding the resolution.
Let me answer that real quick, a little bit different. The original appropriation looked at the normal tax levy, and we still feel that that's a good estimate, okay?
Yes.
And will get us through the end of the year. What happened is we got a payment in February, and we got a payment in May of this year, $115,000 apiece. They were sent over to the two agencies as it was supposed to be, and contract. With the space in the meetings, we knew there was an issue, so we went back and analyzed, make sure we were cool all the way, made the adjustment in the budget, and now we feel we're comfortable with going back to status quo.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item 8 from the Health Department. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to approve the Spectrum Health Foundation contract for 2019 through 20. accept and appropriate $213,800 to the 2019-20 Health Fund budget for the Strong Beginnings Latina Program, and to authorize the board chair or designee to execute the grant agreement, approve extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the original award. For many years, Latinos in Kent County have experienced disparities in birth outcomes, with infant mortality rates 2 times higher than Caucasians. The Spectrum Health Foundation Stronger Beginnings grant program has been created and funded through the W.K. Kellogg Foundation to address the disparity in infant mortality rates. Strong Beginning program goals are to reduce the infant mortality rate for Latina women, to reduce the barriers to care for pregnant women, infants, and toddlers throughout community outreach, case management, and education, to improve care for pregnant women through improved screening and coordination, and to engage the Latino community to advocate for culturally competent care. The Health Department provides outreach, support, and case management services to Latina women who live in Kent County and are pregnant or the mother of a child of 0 to 2 years of age. The agreement period for the Spectrum Health Foundation grant contract is September 1, 2019 through August 31, 2020. In the event grant funding is eliminated or decreased, positions funded by this grant will be eliminated unless continuation funding is approved pursuant to the fiscal policy on grants, contracts, and donations.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item 9, also from the Health Department. Wayman?
Yes, this is a request to approve the Spectrum Health Hospitals contract for 2019 through 20, accept and appropriate $130,800 to the 2019 through 20 Health Fund budget for the Strong Beginnings Pay for Success program, and authorize the board chair or designee to execute the grant agreement, approve extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriations not to exceed 15% of the original award. Strong Beginnings is a home visiting program that uses community health workers to work alongside nurses and social workers in the maternal and infant health program to provide services that do not require the skill or expertise of a nurse or social worker. The Strong Beginnings program goals are to improve birth outcomes and decrease the rate of infant mortality, to reduce the barriers to care for pregnant women, infants, and toddlers throughout community outreach, case management, and education, to improve care for pregnant women through improved screening and coordination, and to engage the community to advocate for culturally competent care. The Health Department provides outreach, support, and case management service to high-risk women who live in Kent County and are pregnant or the mother of a child 0 to 2 years of age. The agreement period for the Spectrum Health Hospital contract is September 1, 2019 through December 31, 2019. In the event grant funding is eliminated or decreased, positions funded by this grant will be eliminated unless continuation funding is approved pursuant to the fiscal policy on grants, contracts, and donations.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? I just had one. Can I ask one question, Adam? So when I look at this list of their focus, is there any area where they would add just even a couple of paragraphs on the importance of reading to infants? I was just wondering if that was, because that's where it all begins, right?
Right.
Is at the beginning.
Yes, and so while that's not one of our specific deliverables in the Strong Beginnings contract that we have with Spectrum, that is part of the coaching that is really consistent throughout all of our home visiting programs, is we're going to coach on best practices and things that we know have a lot of support in the literature for leading to better academic outcomes and success throughout life. So reading is part of the conversation. We're not specifically funded to do a reading component of the Strong Beginnings program, but it's certainly part of the coaching.
That was my question. Anybody else? Oh, yes, Commissioner Bolkowski.
Sorry, me again.
It's okay, you're all good. You had some coffee, right?
No.
Okay.
It's okay. Since you're up, but kind of both of these in anticipation, some questions that will occur, very high likelihood when this gets to the full commission. How does this work, the conversations related to it lining up with planning for the early childhood millage that was successfully passed, and those dollars will start coming online? So does that supplement, supplant, what's happening with that?
We hope that supplements what we're doing in this program and a number of other programs. That the early childhood programming is meant to supplement and build upon the great things that we're already doing. And maybe we can do more with things such as reading, with that sort of programming. So it's not meant to replace, although we do have a concern with the Strong Beginnings portion that you just approved in the most recent action request, because the funding there expires at the end of December in this year, and because of a complication with the application that Spectrum had to HRSA to have funding for the full fiscal year, there's a possibility that the funding may be gone at the end of the year, in which case, what's the alternate after that point? Spectrum is appealing HRSA's decision on the funding for the year-long program. Depending on how that appeal is resolved, there's a possibility that they may be coming to the early childhood millage in order to find fundings to sustain the program going forward.
So maybe I missed it in the memo somewhere. So this is federal dollars that coming through Spectrum Health, as opposed, this isn't from Spectrum Health's foundation?
I think that is where they receive the money, and they match it as well.
Okay.
And then they deliver it to a number of subrecipients, including their own organization who provides service.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item number 10 from the Parks Department. Wayman.
Yes, this is a request to the board to purchase approximately 23 acres adjacent to Two Rivers Park and authorize the board chair or designee to sign all related documents. In 2018, the Board of Commissioners approved a capital improvement project in the amount of $267,000 to purchase an additional 23 acres adjacent to Two Rivers Park, including this additional property. Two Rivers Park would encompass approximately 284 acres with 3.5 miles of frontage along Thornapple River and Coldwater River. Acquiring this land is consistent with several objectives set forth in the Parks, Trail, and Natural Areas Master Plan. The Parks Department is requesting funds in its 2020 budget to master plan Two Rivers Park. This will include outreach in the community to solicit their input. Corporate Counsel will review and approve all documents before they are executed by the board chair or designee.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? And support? Okay, moved and supported. Questions, comments, and discussion? Yes, Commissioner Breve.
This is a really nice green space in the very southeast part of our county in Caledonia, and I would encourage all of you to come take a look and enjoy it.
Yes, Commissioner Wooden.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just wondering, with the expansion, what is the plan of the use of that particular area? Is it just going to be expanded green space? Is there programming or additional investment that's planned for that area?
So at this point, we would hire a consultant to come on board to help us master plan that for the public input.
Great. And with the public input strategy, since our intention is to create regional parks, how broad is that input going to be taken? Is it going to be targeted towards the surrounding townships? Is it going to be targeted towards the region as a whole, the county? Or is that something that you have to have the conversation with the consultant about?
Have the conversation with the consultant, but our goal would be to target it for specific activities within the park, but then also try to master plan that within our full
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Morgan.
Yeah, I just don't want to see you get too carried away. This is a natural beauty in here, and there's a confluence of two rivers that come in here. It's, Doesn't get any better than this as far as parkland acquisition. So I wouldn't mind just keeping this a passive park that people can enjoy, but that's just my 2 cents.
Okay. I was curious, and maybe this question is more for Steve, which is with the amount that this is taking from capital improvement project, it doesn't, is this set aside for land acquisition for parks, or is that a different bucket?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the question, if Steve could answer that. Or Al.
So there's been a set amount in the time that I've been here for land acquisition for parks.
I'm sorry, again.
There's been a set amount for land acquisition for parks, and I've been watching that dwindle since I've been here.
We don't have a separate line item for, that I can remember, for park acquisition. Okay, we have been funding them as we need them.
Right.
We did set up a CIP for this acquisition in 2018 in the CIP fund.
But at one point, I thought we had land acquisition money.
Yeah, we did, but we got rid of that during the recession. That was the first thing to go. We
Okay,
used to have about $4 million in that at one time, but
Years ago.
that all changed during the.
I will, after this meeting, double check, but I think Roger is correct, Commissioner Morgan is.
right, and well, that's, my point is, I'm taking this opportunity to shine the light on the fact that we used to have a fund for this, and now we've had that change, and it's something that is not as it was in the past, but I think very important. So that's,
I don't dispute that, but we had talked a number of times that we had a number of parks that needed additional maintenance. It seemed more important to focus on enhancing and keeping our parks that we already had up to standard rather than develop additional park land when we can't keep what we have up to date.
and that goes back to, sometimes you need 2 scoops of ice cream and you can have both, vanilla and chocolate. But that's, I know there's limited resources for what we have, but my point is with this, I'm fully supportive of this and just am very aware of the future when we have projects that come up, that it'll be versus in the past where they had set aside funds for something like this. It's more of a capturing it through the CIP process. But good to know that we have it for this one. So thank you very much. Commissioner Morgan.
At that point in time, we were doing some pretty aggressive acquisition of Millennium Park and so forth. So for that time frame, it made sense to have it.
Okay. So with that, Commissioner Bolkowski.
Yeah, with the plan for this park, is there additional acquisition that's on the board, or on the drawing board? We've applied for various DNR grants to get parts and pieces of this, where I do understand that balance between maintaining what we currently own. However, it's, the folks that live on East River Shore, somebody could have purchased it and platted out South River Shore, and these, looks like 1 or 2 acre lots or bigger would just continue to populate through, because I have taken Commissioner Brevi up on her invitation. I enjoy going to Alaska with any opportunity I get. We forget Alaska is just down the street. However, it's, again, once it's being used for something else, then it's extremely expensive. Yeah, we can find some property anywhere and say we want to park there, and then we start buying stuff at retail. All that being said, yeah, what is the master plan for this, in the sense of, do we have more acquisition coming up? And then when we really look at what dollars we have, again, and even if it's for passive use, I do support Commissioner Morgan's concept that we don't have to develop things into full-blown playgrounds. It's that passive use is exactly, and it's a great use. I had opportunity to spend 2 weeks up at Sleeping Bear. Maybe that's why I'm more out of it than the lack of caffeine. It's the foresight to protect something for all of us to use, that is what we like to do. So all that being said, are there more acquisitions that we hope to add to this?
So we're currently not applying for grants to go after property. We do have relationships with neighbors, so they know what we're doing. They know we're always interested in talking, and if that if it did present itself, if that was an option, then we would work with Steve's team to acquire funding for that.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. That brings us to item 11 from Fiscal Services. Steve? We have our financial status
Morning, Commissioners,
report.
but I don't think that's necessary today. This is a quarterly report for June 30th, 2019. If you turn to page 2, I will start. A number of you have been through this several times. So. On page 2, we have financial statement, and the budget provides for a 2.5% increase in revenues from 176.3 to 180.6. Year to date, revenues are down 7.5%, 45.4 to 41.9. Going down the left side, significant revenue variances are found. Taxes have decreased from 3.2 to 3.0 million, or 4.4%. This is primarily due to timing. You never know when they're going to come in, but we track those since they're a major source of revenue. Intergovernmental revenues have increased from 8.9 million to 10.8 million, or 20.7%. This is primarily due to the timing of the local stabilization share, which was about $1.5 million, just difference in timing between the 2 years. The other revenue column has decreased from 7.4 million to 2.5 million, or 65.6%. Primary reason for this is that in 2018, the county sold the North Monroe property at 3.3 million and the parking lot for 1.64 million. So that was a one-time revenue in prior years. On the budget side, the budget provides for a 5% increase in expenditures from 172.6 to 181.2. Year to date, revenues down to 0.1%, 81.9 to 81.8 million. Significant expenditure variances are as follows. The wage category has increased from 30.4 to 31.3, or approximately 2.9%. That would appear to be consistent with the wage increases we negotiated with our bargaining units. The OPEB category decreased from 1.1 million to 0.9 million, or 13.8%. Primary reason for this is due to the decrease in the contribution rate. The rate went down from 3.59 to 2.92. However, we did an experience study. You can expect this increasing again in 2020 to 3.34. But for this year, we got the benefit of the change downward. The other services and charges category decreased from 21.2 million to 20.5 million, or 3.2%. Primary reason for this change is we now account for indigent defense in a separate fund. That was about 1.3 million, and the timing of a network 180 payment of about $6 million. The capital category increased from 1.4 million to 1.6 million, or 12.8%. Primary reason for this is due to the timing of vehicles, about $250,000, and parks equipment, about 70,000. Both of those were planned and just moved up in the year to get them done. Particularly cars, we have a long lead time on police cruisers. On the fund balance, expect to stay in compliance with our fund balance policy. But I do want to draw your attention to where we're at right now on a quarterly basis. We have 41.9 million in revenue and 81.8 million in expenditures. That's a $40 million deficit. That deficit is pretty explainable when you look at the tax number. We're expecting $98 million in taxes. We've collected 3 so far. That's my point of why we always need additional cash to keep us going. If you turn over to page 5, you'll see our fund balance statement. I will point out on the heading above, Statement of Revenues, Expenditures, and Changes in Fund Balance as December 31st. That means the end of the year during our audit. So when you see 18 and 17, that's what it is. So why we finished the year with a $74.5 million fund balance, right now, if I close the books, we'd have $34.5 million. So I want to point out that that fund balance doesn't remain constant through the year. Any questions about any of that?
Yes, Commissioner Bukowski.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, that's the chart on page 7, which I referred to
Yeah, we're heading
earlier.
there.
Yep. You meant, okay, I thought you were done.
Oh, we do.
Finished.
If you turn to page 6 and 7, on the left, you will see, I go to the bottom, total available to meet cash flow requirements has declined from 28.3 million to 26.9 million by about $1.4 million over the prior year. And below that, cash reserve and express days of coverage, we went from about 40 days of expense money on hand to about 37 days. That's all represented graphically now on the next page. Same numbers, but just shown in the graph for you. As you can see, the line consistently heads down until we get to July. I expect July will be our low point again this year. Obviously, we send out the tax bills July 1, and then we start to get some cash flow and catch back up. And we will see a big climb through the first, probably through September, October. September, really. Questions answered?
Go ahead, Commissioner Bukowski.
Thank you. So my question back to page 2, with a very broad stroke, on the expenditure side of life, we're halfway through the year. We're about halfway through expenditures. That's pretty regular. And as you just explained, you know, our main source of revenue related to the property taxes, that's cyclical. However, there seems to be additional cyclical parts within the revenue side. And so, you know, do you have any concerns on meeting the revenue budget?
I do not.
Okay.
I believe we will end the year in a surplus. We need to end the year in a surplus to maintain our fund balance policy, to be honest with you. We probably need to hit $2.5 million a year, because that fund balance policy looks forward to what our total expenditures and transfers out are in the subsequent year. Those go up, we need more cash flow to meet it.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if I'm hearing that correctly, I'm looking at the third bullet in the first page that just said that you're forecasting that general fund revenues will increase beyond the expenditures that you expect for this fiscal year. So that surplus will be totally designated to fund balance, or will any of it roll over into next year's budget?
I suspect that what I'll have happen is I'll come to you later this year if it looks like it's going to be more, and suggest that we transfer some more into the strategic capital fund to fund those 3 projects we've been talking about.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, thank you very much. There's no action on this one, right, Linda?
No.
So that will bring us to Commissioner Miscellaneous. Is there any Commissioner Miscellaneous this morning? I'm just going to go ahead and add that Commissioner Sparks, Commissioner Womack, and Commissioner Antor are absent today due to the MAC conference. So if you're wondering why that side of the room doesn't have anyone on it, it was just coincidence that they went to MAC and And that's just how that worked. So with that, we will adjourn, and our next meeting date is September 3rd.